All right. Well, what game are you playing right now?
Oh, what am I playing? Okay, um, so the reason, I mentioned that I've got all the Donkey Kong collection stuff going on here. I got my DK amiibo, my barrel, um, but right now I am playing currently Donkey Kong Country Returns in HD. Um, I played this game back on the Wii, but I'm actually having a better time playing it now on the Switch. Graphically, I don't think it looks any better. I mean, yeah, it's in high definition where the Wii wasn't in high definition. Um, but my reasoning for enjoying it more is the controls. I get to use the Pro controller. I don't have to wiggle around the Wii remote and have a seizure while playing the game. Um, I was not a big fan of the motion controls and all the little gimmicky stuff to do certain things on that system. So I'm having a lot better time playing through this now than I did back then. Um, I love the Donkey Kong Country series. I like those games. And this, honestly, it just feels like a true successor to the Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo. Um, and I absolutely love it. Um, I like these games, but yeah, it's honestly it's the control scheme that makes this better for me. And to be honest, any Wii game they have ported, like when they came out with 3D All Stars for Super Mario Brothers,
Since when has your
um,
mom been so carefree?
stuff like that
Enjoy the
is
continent.
definitely been better in my opinion. Playing through those games because you didn't have to, shake the Wiimote and all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot better time playing those remastered games from the Wii era. Um, and this is no exception. I've been enjoying this. I'm about probably 65% through this game now. Because I've been
Do you
playing
remember
it
what level you're
more.
at?
I I think I'm in World 5. Yeah, that Vine Valley you just checked out. I think I just finished that level. I might be a little bit further in World 5 than that, but yeah, I recognize this. I just finished this level. Yeah, there's a puzzle piece to the left there. Spoiler. Um, but no, I like these type of games where you go through and you collect letters and puzzle pieces or stars. I'm a huge fan of games like that where you got to kind of play through the level multiple times sometimes just to find the all the different secrets. There's little secret hidden passages. Um, that's just my style. I love those type of games. And this game is been really fun. I am a little surprised at the $60 price tag though. You're talking about a game that came out for the Wii, and they didn't really do a lot to change it other than you get to play it with the regular controls, which obviously is really good for me. But you're paying $60 though for a game that came out what almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I'd have to look up the original release date of Donkey Kong Country Returns. Um, but I mean, the Wii was out in what, 05, 06? So I mean, we're talking this game's, you know, getting there in age. And but the crazy thing is Nintendo charges $60 for it, and I bought it. I mean, you know, that's kind of Nintendo's business model is reselling us the same games we've had for years. Um, but no, I bought it, but I was a little surprised at the $60. I think it could have been a $40 or at the least a $50 price tag for having that kind of old game. Now there is a few gripes that I do have that isn't it doesn't deter my fun, but I'm a little surprised about. This is only an HD remake, and what that means is that you can play it in HD and it looks, I guess, a little bit shinier and newer or better. But it's the same game, and it's even the same game with loading times, which surprised me because the loading times, and the one time I noticed it more than anything is after you beat a level, there's a time attack mode that opens up. So you can do a time attack mode on every level in the game. So after I went through and beat World 1 all the way through to the boss, after I completed that whole world, I'm somebody who don't like to move on a game until I've collected every puzzle piece, every Kong letter. Like I don't like leaving things undone. So I like to just move along with the game and keep the game going. So on most games, if there's a time attack part of the level, I would go through and I would do the time attack right away. But my problem with the time attack was if you have to restart because you can already tell you're not going to reach the, say, 1 minute, or I think it was like 55 seconds gets you a gold. And then obviously anything more than that gets you a silver and then a bronze. But anything that gets you a gold would be 55 seconds and under, or at least for World 1-1. So you have to restart the level. The loading times, in my opinion, was super brutal. And I'm sitting here waiting every time I want to restart that time attack. I'm sitting through that loading screen. And it's really the only time I noticed it, because when you get into a level and you die, the game restarts usually right away. But as you can see on this loading screen here, when you restart a time attack, you get that loading screen every single time. And that loading screen, in my opinion, could have been updated to modern hardware. Like, you could have fixed these loading times. And I promise you that's probably what it looked like back on the Wii. But why couldn't you fix that? Like, you get what I'm saying, Blaze? Like,
I get what you're saying.
like if you're gonna modernize a game, at least speed up the loading times. Like, come on. Like, I understand you're not reskinning this game. You're not giving it a full remastered, but you literally could have. I mean, come on. To sit through those loading times, I thought was kind of brutal.
I have
But
So-
that is my biggest gripe. And like I said, I didn't even really notice it until I was trying to go through time attack stuff.
So I'm watching this. This is the first time I've seen this game. I never played it on the Wii. I just got a Switch, and I haven't really had a Nintendo console since the 64 was probably the last console I had on Nintendo. This looks and reminds me of the old Donkey Kong Country games, which I've never been a big, like, my favorite Donkey Kong is the original Nintendo Donkey Kong, or the arcade version where Jumpman is trying to save the girl, or Donkey Kong Jr., where it's Donkey Kong Jr. saving Donkey Kong. I never got into country games as much, personally. I still prefer, like, I would love to see them just do, and I'm surprised they haven't, Donkey Kong versus Mario, or Mario versus Donkey Kong, whatever it was called. I can't remember which was
called
first.
Mario versus Donkey Kong. It's
Mario
right there.
versus Donkey Kong.
It's a puzzler, and
There's
I had a lot of fun with that game. It was
I like that a lot.
it was a
No.
DS game originally, or it might have been a Game Boy. I can't remember. I didn't play it on the portable, but I definitely picked it up for the Switch. And I do think that had a $40 price tag when it released. They did not charge full price
it
for
still
that game
does.
on the Switch. Oh yeah, I mean, if they release it for 40, it's gonna be 40. That's just Nintendo's business model. They sometimes will give you a sale, but like Mario Odyssey came out the first year the system came out. Breath of the Wild came out at launch. They're still $60 games.
Yeah.
You're not getting a discount on those games unless there's some kind of Black Friday sale or Christmas sale going on, where then they might give you a $10 or $20 break on it. But you're not the days of the player choice Nintendo games, we haven't seen that in this era with the Switch. And the sad thing is that's probably our fault as consumers,
because you keep paying for it.
because we keep paying for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're kind of we've kind of got that Stockholm syndrome where we defend Nintendo and we allow it to happen. I know I'm guilty of it because these are my favorite games to play is the Nintendo stuff. And they know that. They know they have an audience of fanboys that are they are loyal to Nintendo to a fault. But this isn't going to be like Assassin's Creed where it's on the market for a couple months and then you can get it for half the price. And then all of a sudden a year later you can get it in the bargain bin for $20. I mean, I'm not dissing on Assassin's Creed. I'm just saying there's.
Oh, I was just pointing out that I'm wearing an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
shirt.
So
I love the series.
I'm just pointing out that there's a lot of games out there that definitely single player games that once they get their sales within 6 months or so, you see heavy discounts all the time on those games. But the value of the Nintendo games, most of them keep their value. If it's got Mario on the cover or Link or Donkey Kong, all those games keep their value and they don't go down in price. Switch 2's on its way. April 2nd, we've got a Switch 2 Direct. We're going to learn more about the system. And when the Switch 2 comes out, it makes me wonder, one of two things is probably going to happen. Because there's too many Switches out there to just abandon the Switch user base right away. But one of two things is going to happen. Switch 2 games are going to release at $70. And that's going to be the norm. And the Switch games are going to stay at $60, or the Switch 2 games are going to be $60, which I'm starting to doubt that. But I mean, as a consumer, I hope. They kind of already teased it with Tears of the Kingdom released at $70, which was a shock to me because I had it pre-ordered at GameStop. And I paid it off for $60, and then I walked in there to pick it up, and they're like, "You owe $10 more on this game," because Nintendo didn't really say anything until like it released that it was a $70 game. It's the only Switch game that I believe has been $70 at launch. Maybe Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I see that one's usually pretty high in price. Other than that. Tears of the Kingdom's like the one game that's $70, and it was released at that. So it's definitely Nintendo was testing the waters to see if they could still sell these games at a higher price. And when the Switch 2 comes out, I do kind of assume it'll probably be 70 as a standard, just like Xbox and PlayStation has already done. I think that way they don't have to lower the price to the Switch games. I hope I'm wrong. I hope maybe the Switch games become like that new Player's Choice, where they used to sell those games at a discounted rate after they were, a million sold or whatever. But I guess we kind of got to wait until the Switch 2 info comes out on April 2nd to know how they're going to handle that. But no, I would definitely recommend this game. I had a lot of fun with this game. If you remember playing the Donkey Kong Country games on Super Nintendo, you will literally be right at home with this game. It'll feel familiar to you. It's just with it's hard to say modern flair because this game is getting old now. I'd say it's like 17, 18 years old, I'd say, somewhere around there. But
all I was trying to say is that the Mario versus Donkey Kong, there was some kind of elements that made it feel like the old Donkey Kong game, but I would love them to just do a modern version of Donkey Kong that's not country, but like the original Donkey Kong with Mario jumping up and with new levels, new modern graphics. Like, I think that would be cool. And I think
that would be fun. I would definitely jump in and play that. I would have a blast playing that. But I also, what I kind of really wanted to see is Donkey Kong 64 or that style of game make a comeback. Which, I mean, they have the NSO 64 on the Switch. Why they haven't put Donkey Kong 64 on there is beyond me. People could argue that it's because Rare is with Microsoft, but they got all 3 Donkey Kong countries on there. They have Killer Instinct on there. They have GoldenEye, for crying out loud, which nobody saw that coming. Nobody thought that would ever be able to happen, but they gave us GoldenEye on Nintendo Switch Online. So it really kind of makes me wonder why they have not gave us Donkey Kong 64. And
They might add
it makes you wonder if they're waiting to bring it out to get people excited to maybe get better sales on a new 3D Donkey Kong game, which I would love to see. That is something that would excite the heck out of me. I would love to see a 3D Donkey Kong game. But anyhow, but yeah, if you have a Switch and you're looking for something fun to play, this right here, I'm having a blast. It's challenging enough, but it's easy enough for a kid, but challenging enough for an adult. But definitely those time attacks, man. Whew. The load times in between are brutal, and to be honest, the time attack alone was it's kind of brutal to get those gold. They're more difficult than you would think, but I would definitely recommend this game. So.